Hello, well, it's the 7th of January and it's the first Reform press conference of 2026. We have become used to these being very regular, if not weekly, and today was an hour and a half long. I wasn't there, busy doing other things. However, there was a big announcement as part of today's press conference. Reform, Nigel Farage, the great man himself, announced that Laila Cunningham will be head of London for Reform and the Reform candidate for the mayoral election. So Reform have put forward Laila Cunningham, a formidable Egyptian Muslim mum of 7, 5 natural, 2 stepchildren. Not sure that's important, just thought I'd give you the salient facts. And someone who's been quite the formidable debater on the podcast, TV and radio circuit for the last 12 months. I've actually met Laila in the GB News studios, and I can tell you now that when it comes to a debate, she will beat Sadiq Khan, and if it was MMA, she would beat him too. Let's take a quick look at what Farage and Laila said today at the press conference.
We need to get rid of Khan. We need a new mayor of London. And today's press conference is about launching our candidate to stand for mayor of London, but also the person that will be the face and the campaigning force around all 32 boroughs as we head in to those May the 7th elections. Laila Cunningham has already proven in her time with us as a party to be articulate, to be passionate, a mother, somebody who actually herself has had to effectively, in the absence of the police, act as a police officer herself in defence of her children. And she, from this moment on, will be the head of Reform UK London, our candidate for the mayor next year.
As Nigel has said, today we are announcing that I'm standing to be the next mayor of London. Now, I know that was still 2.5 years away, but the election on May 7th is the first step. It's the first step to reclaiming our city. Now, these local elections, I tell everyone, will be a referendum on Sadiq Khan, on Labour's broken London. It's Londoners' chance to vote out every councillor who's propped him up and stayed silent while he's let our city down. From now until May, I will be spearheading our campaign, touring every borough, because for the first time in years, Londoners finally have a real alternative: Reform. And unlike Labour or Tories, we won't defend a status quo that doesn't work for the voters.
Okay, that was Nigel Farage and Laila Cunningham there, telling us there is now a real different option for change in London as mayoral candidate, and that is Reform and Laila Cunningham. And we can't help but think, after 10, 12 years of Sadiq Khan, that change is long overdue. Whatever you might think of Sadiq Khan, whatever you might think of London, it's very difficult to escape the fact that in that time, or at least over the last 10 to 20 years, London has changed beyond recognition. If you've not been to London for a long time and you went there now, I think you would be surprised by how it looks and how it behaves. Now, I'll leave that up to you, whether that's a criticism or not, but it's indisputable that there has been great cultural change. Now, the thing about Laila Cunningham is she's a Muslim and she's a Muslim woman. Now, people to the right of Reform aren't entirely pleased by this. There are people out there that believe this is Reform and Farage capitulating to the Muslims of the UK and putting forward another Muslim by saying the only way to beat a Muslim in London is with another Muslim. And people to the right of Reform believe that simply isn't the case, and there should be whole change, and it probably should be a white Christian man that goes up against Sadiq Khan. Well, I don't see life that way, and I don't see a candidate out there that can compete with Sadiq Khan with those credentials. There just isn't one there. Laila Cunningham, for me, she's not just a woman, and she's not just a Muslim woman, though she is those things, but she's much, much more. She once criticised Sadiq Khan because every time he is criticised, he always blames it on the fact that he is Muslim. And she has said she is fed up and tired with this. Now, I can't say that. Many of you can't say that. But Laila can. A lot of people disagree that that type of politics actually works. But I think in this particular case, in this particular city, like for like, head to head, is probably a very good choice. This starts, as Laila said, with the council elections in London in May. Each borough, each councillor is up for re-election. And I think that we're going to see a significant change in London. I don't know how significant, but one thing I do know, being in and around London a lot, is that not everybody, no matter how big a fan they are of multiculturalism, DEI, and the liberal mind virus, they're not seeing the benefit in return for the cost that they have to pay for living in London. And London is extortionate. It is a great city. I think it's a great city. But I do think that it's lost its way. And I do think that change is required. Now, nobody has really been able to challenge Sadiq Khan. And that's despite the reality, and therefore the optics, being genuinely terrible. Terrible. London accounts for about a third of all knife crime offences in England and Wales, with over 16,700 recorded offences in 2024, which was up on 2023. And knife crimes were reported roughly every 30 minutes in the capital. Now, that's not cool. Yet, if anybody tries to talk to Sadiq Khan about this, he will gaslight the living shit out of you. That's not the only crime that's up. Though it's terrible, but sex crime is up in the capital also. In 2024-2025, the Metropolitan Police recorded statistics for sexual offences were recorded at 26,803. Sexual offences in the capital, up from 24,334 the year before. That's a 10% increase year on year. So basically, if you want to get sexually assaulted, the best place to go in the country is London. Now, until now, if you had the audacity to bring this up to the Mayor of London, he would do one of three things. He would obfuscate, pretend he didn't understand. If that didn't work, he'd say, but London's the most diverse and multicultural place on earth, and you're just envious of it. And if that didn't land either, he would just say, you're just criticising me because you don't like Muslims, you're projecting your hate, and therefore I'm not going to take it, I'm standing up against it, and your statistics are racist. And let's be honest, that approach since 2016 has worked incredibly well. Incredibly well. He's won landslide after landslide after landslide. But what those people that blindly follow this doctrine don't seem to see is that in itself is incredibly racist. To be presented with knife crime statistics, sexual assault statistics that have gone through the roof since Sadiq Khan became Mayor of London, and say it's because we're multicultural, he is essentially saying that it's that multiculturalism that is committing the stabbings and the grapings. But people don't seem to be able to put one and one together and come up with two. And if they do, they think, oh, that doesn't seem right. Let's just ignore it. Well, the continuation and the ignorance is costing lives. So change is required. We can't just have someone in the most powerful mayoral seat in Great Britain who is afraid of his own record. The man literally has a fireworks display every New Year that is complete and utter masturbation. There's no two ways about it. This man would watch it naked if he could, and it's only the television cameras there that stop him from doing it. As I said, Laila Cunningham is a formidable mother of 7. And when you see a jumped up little brat like Sadiq Khan, the best antidote to that is a strong mother. And that is exactly what Laila Cunningham is. To the extent that one of her lads had been mugged in London, and she pursued the muggers herself and then pursued a civil case against them. It's that type of tenacity and that type of transparency and openness to say this is happening and I'm going to do something about it, which I think could be a winning formula for Laila and reform. So let's take an opportunity now just to have a quick look at what Laila is all about.
I am a child of Jewish ancestry. I am Jewish. We have seen this with Nazi Germany. We are seeing it in 2025. This government need to hang their heads in shame.
OK, you're obviously disagreeing. What would you say to Zach Polanski?
Well, because you can't just have compassion for the illegal immigrants coming on boats and not compassion for the girls that are being sexually assaulted by them and the people that are killed on our streets. We do have men that come on boats and within 8 days sexually assault 14-year-old girls. I find it really galling that the Green Party are so focused on illegal migrants, but they don't have any compassion for our young girls and women who...
I'm not sure that's true.
Well, first of all, an asylum seeker who is coming over here cannot come over here illegally because we need safe and managed routes, and it's very clear across international law that anyone is able to find a safe sanctuary in a country. France is a safe country, but Britain is also a safe country. Germany takes twice as many asylum seekers as Britain. Secondly, sexual assault is a deeply awful and tragic thing that we need to prevent and stop. But there is absolutely no evidence that the people who are sexually assaulting people are people seeking asylum. And
I'm sorry, there is. There's convictions.
There
is convictions of people who came on boats. They have been convicted. Have you seen the case in Epping? Are you not watching the news? Of course there is evidence.
Well, this is the very definition of racism, is finding one case and saying, actually, this is the class of entire people across people seeking asylum. The people seeking asylum...
Let Laila Cunningham finish.
So we have a Borders Act, and it is actually illegal to come into our country without a passport, without documentation. So the way it happens, they come on a boat, and they are illegal migrants, and they land on our shores, and they say the word asylum. And they are granted all the rights of asylum seekers, yet they're coming from France, and the illegal entry offence is neutralised. We only prosecute 1% of illegal entry into this country. How can we be a democratic, sovereign country when we have decriminalised illegal entry into our country? I want to see some compassion, and some compassion for the girls that are being sexually assaulted, the man who was killed in Uxbridge. And I find it quite shocking that the minister you just had on, all she spoke about was the safety of the people coming on boats. It's obvious that the safety of women and girls in this country is not Labour's priority because she didn't mention it once.
First of all, let's just address the frankly infantile and pathetic politics of Zach Polanski there. Classic 101 mental woke mind virus horseshit. First of all, set yourself up as an oppressed minority. Doesn't need to be true. Just set yourself up as one. Then, when you're presented with the facts, dispute them immediately. If those facts turn out to be true, pull out the trump card. Call everyone racist. And when that doesn't work, just sit there and have your ass spanked. But this is about Laila Cunningham. And I think what that Newsnight interview shows us is that Laila is not afraid to be combative. She's not afraid to debate. She is in an incredibly strong position, particularly when debating with these libtards, because she, to their mind, is the most oppressed person in the world. She's a mother, she's female, and she's Muslim. She's also, by sheer and utter serendipity, a person of colour. The trump card, the full suite. Someone like Zach Polanski is struggling slightly. You can see it. You can hear it in his voice. He's thinking to himself, am I the oppressor? Am I the person talking down? Am I the person punching down? Well, Laila teaches him a lesson there. And I think that strength, that ability to debate, that ability to stay calm, cool and collected when presented with absolute nonsense will play into her hands when she comes up against Sadiq Khan. I wish her all the best because I want change for London. I don't know if Laila Cunningham can beat Sadiq Khan. He is incredibly successful at fighting mayoral elections. He is in his third term, like a London dictator, and he is talking about going for a fourth term, which is why I'm making this video, because it will be Laila Cunningham versus Sadiq Khan. There's no way he's just going to hand over the baton to someone else and not fight this fight, because the thing that will bring Sadiq Khan down is his own hubris. He is full of arrogance. You only have to watch the man in Mayor's Questions. Then nobody in this world loves Sadiq Khan more than Sadiq Khan. And he loves this job. He loves the power it brings. And unfortunately for masses of people, there are 8 million people in London, many of them have been hoodwinked by Sadiq Khan because they believe he speaks for them. The idea that there's never been a grooming gang in London is pie in the sky. It's a huge fib at best. At worst, it's a crime in itself. So like I say, I wish Laila Cunningham all the best. London deserves better, and let's hope it gets it. Well, thanks ever so much for watching once again. I hope you enjoyed the video. Keep supporting me. I'm on 6.2 thousand subscribers on YouTube now. My target is to, as soon as possible, get to 10,000 subs. I can only do that with your support. So please subscribe, like, and share. It's really important. You can also jump over to my Substack. I am at Paul Cox Comedy everywhere. At my Substack, you can support me financially by signing up to my monthly subscription, which is £5 a month, or my yearly subscription, which is £50, which I believe makes the monthly cost about £4.17. Now, you don't have to do that. I haven't put any of my content behind a paywall. It's there for free. But please do consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. And until next time, keep it real.